This is Gail Sussman-Miller at Inspired Choice doing my very first LinkedIn Live. I sure hope you guys are seeing me. I'm going to double check to make sure if any of you are out there and if you need any help. I believe I can see you chatting with me in the message area, but let's stay in touch there. So definitely you'll be able to see the recording. I'm so glad that you were intrigued by the subject enough to take a look. And I have a feeling, at least with the individuals that I work with, this really touches a nerve. So my desire for you is to become aware of our human protective programming that goes way back to the beginning of time, and to be able to start to unhook that and operate differently by choice. So let me just take one quick check here to make sure that we are good to go. Looks like we are. All right. So if you're out there listening, please type in the message window in LinkedIn so I can see if you're out there. And okay, so here's where I want to start. I want you to picture two different realities. It's the best way I can think of it. In the last year and a half, I've been studying what I'm about to introduce you to, and it's made a huge difference for me. After 20 years as a coach, this is new material for me. And we spend a lot of our time knowing where our strengths and weaknesses are, knowing what we would really like to achieve, and trying. There's a lot of trying. And wondering, why can't I do it differently? This is the 10th time I said I was going to work on that thing, and I haven't started it. This is a dream I've had for 10 years, and I haven't started on it. So if you would put in the chat into the LinkedIn window, just to give us some things to work with here. Where are places that you say yes in your life when inside you know you really would rather say no? Where do you say yes when you mean no? Put a few of those into the message. And in the meantime, let me paint a picture for you of these two different parts of ourselves. So a little bit of history. Going back to the beginning of time, if we can go back to our cave days, we have been pre-programmed in our brains to have a human survival mechanism to protect ourselves. Survival is everything. We don't know if that big woolly mammoth is there as our friend or if it's there to eat us. So we have our fight or flight syndrome and our reaction, and we know we're going to run. We'll ask questions later. That part is still with us. And if you take a look at your childhood and all the messages you got as a small child, all the way up through your 20s and into your employment years, we get left with impressions by old bosses, teachers, parents, all about people's opinion on what it takes to survive and what it takes to succeed. We have those messages in our heads as well. And we're also programmed with what's called a negativity bias. So I just had this experience myself. You get a lot of great reviews on something. I did a workshop on Friday, and it was great. And I had one suggestion someone made about the way I was using the whiteboard. And I can't believe how much my mind is focused on that negative piece. So I want you to know what you're up against in the way that we are quite literally programmed, hardwired. Think of yourself as a software program that's been coded a certain way. So I'm calling that there are archetypes tied to that, which we will focus on in another video sometime down the road. I'm planning to do a longer term workshop on this virtually. Let's just call those human protective survival messages and mechanisms your shadow. That is shadow. And then we have light on the other side. So let me give you these comparisons. On one side, we have powerlessness. We have a lot of pleasing others at a cost to ourselves so that we can fit in, so that we belong, so that we are loved, accepted. These are some of the reasons that you may be saying you say yes when you actually mean no. We do this to get promoted. We do it to prove ourselves when we're newly hired, to get clients if you're an entrepreneur. That is a place where we might be prone to victim. Victim meaning I have no choice. I have no power here. This is my lot in life. This is how I am. This is the situation, and I have no choice. This is also a place where we see things are happening to us. And this is where the saboteur lives, who causes delay. That's your procrastinator. This human protection side, this survival mode, is mostly fear-driven. Okay, so now let me take you to the other side, into the light. So if we look at the light, here is a place where you, instead of powerless, you are powerful. The main thing that makes you powerful on this side is choice. And I know so many of the women leaders that I coach talk about, but I really don't have a choice. It's my boss. It's the CEO. I have to say yes. If you only knew my family, when it comes to planning events, it's all up to me. It has to be me. These are things we've come to believe over a very long period of time. And the cause and effect here, usually we're trying to change the effect. When it's the cause, we need to get it. And the cause is our thoughts. And your thoughts, held on to long enough, become beliefs. So where you, in the shadow, you are pleasing others, over here, and let's call this your superhuman compared to your human survival programming. Over here, you are pleasing yourself. You're aware of your desires. And when it comes to making decisions, like you hear your name, or for example, Gail, would you please, Gail, can you help me? Gail, can you? And I stop to think, what are the most important things for me to take care of me in this situation? Do I have the time? Do I have other priorities? What's best? How can I help this person and also meet some of my own non-negotiables, things that I must take care of? So one of my favorite things, this was a quote from one of my clients, is to say to yourself, my decision tree starts with me. If you picture a flow chart in that diamond where you ask the question and maybe you go yes and maybe you go no, or not now, or you renegotiate. So where we are in the shadow side, we are looking for external validation. How did I do? What did other people say? Did I get an atta girl? Did I please people? On the superhuman side, we're looking at what pleases me. How did this measure up with what I wanted to achieve? and my own review of my quality. This is the place where you decide, this is what I want to have happen. These are my desires. I may not know how to even accomplish them, but I know I'm going to do it. I'm working on it. Here's the first step, and you take action. Whereas the survivor human side says, these things happen to me and I don't have a lot of choice. In the side of your superhuman, things happen for you. Learning opportunities, ways for you to grow. And I think the last piece is trusting the unknown. There is a lot of magic and unseen powers and vibes and universe, and call it what you want, that affects how things go. So one place I'd like you to start is to write down this formula. In big letters, I do want you to write down, my decision tree starts with me. I've had clients tell me that, one told me that she's like 94th on her list of priorities. She takes care of everyone else first. So think about what your desires are. Maybe the top 5 things, your health. Maybe it's the way you want to show up at work or a particular project. And some of the things that are most important to you. Next, in those moments when you feel resistance, when shadow shows up, it's going to show up in one of these voices that I just described. It's either going to be, oh, I can't do that. My hands are tied. I have no choice. It's going to be the saboteur who says, maybe you shouldn't do that. That doesn't seem safe. Don't rock the boat. Let's go reorganize our sock drawer instead. Don't start that. No, you're actually tired. And you know what? You have 30 emails to answer. Don't start on that big project that you really want to accomplish. You may hear your pleasing part say, well, if you said no, or if you said not now, or you renegotiated, what would those people think? What would they say about you? What could be the consequences of saying no? I know that's a lot of what stops us. So I really want you to notice, if you come away with nothing else but noticing that these thoughts are going through your head, because that's really important, then I'm happy. That's a place to start. There's so much time that we point our finger and we either blame others when we're pointing away or we shame ourselves. We have a lot of potential for an internal bully. So I want you to notice, that's my shadow. That's a protective part of me that's trying to step in and keep me safe. You don't need that protection anymore. Yes, you still shouldn't run with scissors or touch the hot stove. But a lot of the things that your shadow holds you back from is not a fit for you now. So here's the formula. First, there's some kind of trigger. Either someone asks you for something, you remember some work you need to do, you're feeling ashamed about something, you get some kind of feedback. Something sets this in motion. Notice that there is shadow at work. Notice any one of these kinds of messages that are fear-driven. You may notice the emotion first. And sometimes when we're asked, will you, can you help me? We feel the no in our body before our brain even says the word no in our head. So, trigger, then notice it. Really literally see it. Oh, observe it. Acknowledge it happened. And then if you can, name it. Like, Oh, I see what that is. I see which voice that is speaking. And then I want you to think about what you truly want. Connect to your desire and the truth. A big part of this process is being super truthful with yourself. No one else is listening. It's just you in your head. What do you truly desire? And what's true about you? If you said no, if you renegotiated, if you said not now, what would people think? And is it true? I have a couple of situations with clients where something more on the level of an emergency happened. A family member was sick and they had to seriously redesign their schedule, push back, cancel, delegate, say no. Easy to do when it's because someone else needs you. I'm asking you to do it for you. So when you realize this is happening and you take a look at what's true, yes, other people might be disappointed. They might have judgment about you. That's true. You're going to take a stand for yourself. And at this point, I want you to choose differently. Choose that this is the day I'm going to put myself first. I'm going to see if I can renegotiate the day that I help them. They want help with 10 things, I can help with one. And so down the hall can help with a couple of the other things. And then firmly decide, I'm doing it differently. This is what I want. I'm not even sure how it's going to happen. And take action with the first step that comes to you. The interesting thing is that the more you can calm your mind and all this churning and the worst case scenarios and replaying the past and worrying into the future, the more you will hear your genius speak to you and give you ideas about what to do. The best solution, what your true instinct is. So that's the most important part of this. So far, I do not see messages from anyone. And that could very well be that I am missing where your messages are showing up. I am, as I said, totally new at doing a LinkedIn Live, and I don't see any communication. However, I do want you to know that you can contact me on LinkedIn or email me at Gail, Gail, at inspiredchoice.com. You might want to explore some of this that's leading to questions or that's confusing. I'd be happy to make time to talk to you, or to see what's next or what you can read and how you can continue to get familiar with these shadow human personalities and thoughts that you're having, and the light superhuman. So you can move through the shadow messages and choose differently. That's it for now. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will follow up with you. I really think the most important thing is to be thinking about choice. Your choice is where your power lives. Notice where you give your power away, usually without knowing. By sacrificing your choice for the sake of others, or to please others, and to meet other people's expectations, that external justification. Find one small place where you say yes to you instead. So my last tip, I think, is for you to listen for the no. We tend to go right to the yes immediately. So pause when you're asked for something. Pause when there's a decision to make about how to spend your time, and check with your body first to see if you feel a little tug, a little hesitation. And definitely listen in your mind when you hear, no, I don't really want to do that. Oh, that does not feel good. No, oh, but I have to say yes. That's the moment. Catch the no and consider saying yes to yourself instead. Have a great day, and thanks for joining me. Bye for now.